You will not get this exact morning again. Not this light through the window, not this particular quiet before the house wakes, not the version of you that exists right now, on this date, with these hours still untouched ahead. Tomorrow there will be a morning, yes, but not this one. This one is unrepeatable, and it is happening now, and you are deciding what to do with it, whether you notice the decision or not. Here is what that fact does to a morning once you let it land. Remembering that the morning does not repeat is not a morbid thought. It is the most clarifying thought available to you, because it strips away the comfortable lie that there's always more of this, always another identical chance, always later. There isn't. There is this. And once you really see that, you stop spending the morning as if it were free. We treat our mornings as if they were drawn from an infinite supply. We hit the snooze and tell ourselves the day will keep. We let the first hour leak away into the phone, into half attention, into the warm fog of not quite awake, and the quiet justification underneath it all is that there will be plenty more mornings, essentially the same, essentially forever. It is a kind of accounting error. We spend the rarest thing we own as if it were the most common. The Stoics built an entire practice on correcting that error, and they were not gloomy men doing it. Seneca, writing to a friend about how people complain that life is too short, cut straight to the real problem. In Aubrey Stewart's old translation, he put it plainly, "We do not receive a short life, but we make it a short one, and we are not poor in days, but wasteful of them." Read that again. The complaint is never really about the length of the life. It is about the leakage. We act as though the supply were endless, and so we let it drain, and then at the end we are astonished there was so little. The shortness was self-inflicted. The morning was never the problem. The way we spend it was. Marcus Aurelius, an emperor with every reason to assume tomorrow was guaranteed, refused the assumption on purpose. He kept the thought of his own death close, not to frighten himself, but to organize himself. In George Long's translation, he wrote, "Since it is possible that thou mayest depart from life this very moment, regulate every act and thought accordingly." Notice what that does. It is not a counsel of despair. It is a counsel of regulation. If this could be the last act, then make it a clean one. Make it deliberate. The nearness of the end does not make the action smaller. It makes it matter more, gives it edges, makes you choose it instead of drift into it. There's a tradition far from Rome that took the same medicine in an even stronger dose. The samurai code, recorded in the hagakure, taught warriors to begin each morning by considering themselves already dead, not to wallow in it, and not from a love of gloom, but because a man who has already accepted his death has nothing left to clutch at. The paralysis that comes from clinging to life, the hesitation, the holding back, the careful hoarding of oneself, all of it dissolves when the clinging stops. A person who rises as though already dead, in that tradition, is finally free to act fully, without flinching, without saving himself for a later that may not come. The thought of the end did not make them timid. It made them whole. So look at what three very different traditions are pointing at across the centuries. A Roman philosopher, a Roman emperor, and a school of Japanese warriors. None of them morbid, all of them practical. They each took the one fact we work hardest to ignore, that this does not last, that this morning will not return, and they turned it into fuel. Finitude, handled rightly, does not weigh you down. It focuses you. It tells you, with perfect clarity, that of all the mornings you will ever have, this is the only one you actually hold. So stop pretending this one is a rehearsal. The reason the morning slips away is that some part of you treats it as a draft, a practice run before the real days begin. but there is no real day waiting off stage. This is it. The light is real. The hours are real. The version of you sitting in them is the only version that gets to live them. There is no dress rehearsal that the performance comes after. The rehearsal was the performance the whole time. And here's the strange gift inside the hard fact. When you let yourself feel that this morning will not repeat, the small choices stop feeling small. Whether you give the first hour to your own work or surrender it to noise, whether you greet the person across the table or stare past them, whether you move your body or let it stay heavy, these stop being trivial when you remember the count is finite. Attention becomes precious because the supply of it is not endless. That is not pressure. That is meaning. The things that cannot be repeated are exactly the things worth doing well. You do not have to make this morning perfect. You only have to make it yours. Spend it like it counts, because it does, because it is the only one of its kind that will ever exist, and it is here, right now, asking what you will do with it before it becomes a morning you can never get back. So rise into it with both eyes open. I rise as if this morning will not repeat, because it will not, and I let that wake me rather than weigh me. I treat the nearness of the end as a reason to regulate my actions, not a reason to fear them. I refuse to spend this morning as a rehearsal, because there is no real day waiting behind it. I give my best attention to the few things in front of me, knowing the supply of mornings is finite. I let go of clinging to a later that may never come, and act fully in the only hour I actually hold. I spend this morning like it counts, because of all the mornings there will ever be, this is the only one I own. That is the morning, not a grim countdown, but a clear one. The simple, sharpening fact that this day will not come around again, and that the fact is a gift if you let it be one. So rise like it's the only one, because in every way that matters, it is. And if this clarified the morning for you, stay with this channel, where every dawn is a chance to meet the day awake. Then come back tonight for the gentle other half of the same truth, because the morning rises as though this day were the only one, and the night returns it softly to the stillness it came from. In tonight's reflection, the Tao Te Ching on returning to the root, the poet Rilke on letting everything happen to you, and the writer Henri Nouwen on the night as a return to the place where you are loved. The morning is for rising as if it were the only one. The night is for laying it gently back down. Begin disciplined, end reflective. Now rise.